Hello again, and welcome. This is Michael Pizzola here, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Value Capping Rants. This is the Breeders' Cup 2010 Value Capping Rant, and I thought I'd do something different this year for Breeders' Cup. First of all, some of you have asked me why I'm calling them Value Capping Rants instead of Handicapping Rants. Well, I'm using that purposely, that word purposely, because I want to focus on the finding of value in horse races, not necessarily in handicapping to find the winners. Now you may say, Michael, that's crazy. Of course we need to find a winner to get any value. Well, yes, we need to cash some tickets, but to look too hard for who's going to win in a race really can lead you to the inescapable conclusion that the favorites are going to win because they're the fastest and classiest and most informed horses. The principle of value capping is to find horses that we like that will be undervalued by the public. In other words, that we like that the public should not like. And in that, to find value in the game. So what I thought I'd do today is, and people have asked me in the past, like in the past Triple Crown, I did these long PDFs, which went on for 35 pages. And some of you said they couldn't open them because of the way the PDF was created. So I thought I would, here it's Wednesday night before the Friday of Breeders' Cup. And I thought I would just take you through my process of how I go about finding the races I want to focus on and finding potential value plays. So here I am with a blank screen, and I'm using Blackmagic Ultimate Handicapper. That's my tool of choice. And yes, this is my baby. This is something that I've worked on for, over 20 years in developing the numbers and developing the concepts and all of that. But it doesn't matter what numbers you use, as long as you stay to the principle of finding horses that you like that the public will undervalue. That is the long-term key to success. What happens on Breeders' Cup? I don't care. It's another day of races. I'm in the race books out here in Las Vegas, not every day, but certainly 4 days a week. And I'm finding value bets, and I'm looking constantly for those things. This is just one of races. So in the past, I've always emphasized to look at the undercards, and not just the undercards at Churchill Downs this year, but the undercards all through the country. So without further ado, let's go. And again, I'm going to show you just what I would do if I were sitting here, and you could kind of look over my shoulder here. And I'm going to just take the Churchill Downs races for November 5th. And they've been downloaded, and it's just that quick. That was in real time. Now, I'm on a fast internet connection, so of course, but that's how quickly it comes in. So, oh my gosh, the first thing I noticed is, the horse on the top of Blackmagic in the very first race at Churchill on Friday is 9-2 on my line, and 12-1 on something called a contention line, and 12-1 on the morning line. Those two lines give you an idea of what the public might do with the horse. Really interesting. So the very first thing I see, so I may go take a look at that. But normally what I would do is I like to find what are called heavy pressure races, those or highly pressured races. And this is one of them. You can see up here, it's highly pressured. What that means is it looks like there may be lots and lots of speed in the race that they may force each other to go too quickly. The early horses to go too quickly and pressure each other, which sets up the race for a late running horse. So one of the features of Blackmagic that I love is that it has all of these portfolios. Heavy pressure, lone early, 5-star reversers, single pattern horses, turf gaps, sprints and routes, and ugly maiden claimers, and all of that. I like to start my work with looking for heavy pressure races. And there are 4 of them at Churchill Downs that day. The 1st, 3rd, 7th, and 8th. But in this case, it's the first race we opened. And we're going to go down to something called acupressure, which will show at a glance the pace scenarios in the race. And here's one where the 6 and the 2 look like they're going to be out there early at the 1st and 2nd calls. And interestingly, looks like the 8 horse is going to be closing. Now, wait a minute. The 8 horse, that same horse that was at the top of the line. And he's got these things called advanced form patterns, a type 1 plus and a type 2A. Well, look, I've got to take a look at this horse and see how bad it looks. It was off a layoff from July 2nd to September 24th. Ran a nice 3rd. Then ran a decent 5th. But notice in both of those races how deep those closes are. From 9 to 5th, from 10 to 3rd. Well, that's certainly a closing horse. Now, one thing I like to look at is how the track profile is looking. Now, at Churchill, I don't have very much that's recent, for very good reason. But let's go back a few months and see what we can see. Let's go back a little further and see if we've got any more. And we'll go back. There we are. And these numbers, if you're not familiar with them, may not mean a lot to you. But I notice in the Roxelana Stakes, there's a 50.80, which is very late. 50.48, the Kelly's Landing Stakes, very late. So what this is telling me that at 7 furlongs at Churchill Downs, at least a few months ago, at least back in July, that these late kind of horses can win. So I'm pretty much done with this race. I don't, I can look through these others, but I've got my key horse, so I've got a race in the undercard that I'll look at. Now, I'll come here and look at the 3rd race at Churchill Downs. There are 2 closers, the 1 and the 6. The 6 is way down on the line. The 1 doesn't even show on the line. I'll see if I can. Yeah, the 1 is way down there. I have got the morning line favorite that is way at the bottom. I don't really like that. I don't see a whole bunch. Here is the Fulcrum horse, the 3 horse. Don't put it back. That looks a bit, well, it looks a bit early to me. So right now I may take a, small shot at this horse. Does go off at 20 to 1. Not really excited. And now we get into the Breeders' Cup. There are 2 heavy pressure races in the Breeders' Cup. The Churchill 7th race is the Sentient Jet Breeders' Cup. And let's see. First of all, there are 3, 10, 11 horses above random. Now, there's a horse that's near and dear to my heart, Champagne Doro. For those of you who are subscribers of the Rant know that on Belmont Day, I believe, Champagne Doro won the Acorn Stakes. Let's see if that shows up in these past performances. Champagne Doro, June 5th, Belmont Mile. Yes, see there in the Acorn Stakes, and the horse won the race. And he won and paid $81. Ask me how I remembered that. I also, by the way, I liked it very much in the Kentucky Oaks, where it finished, let's see, 11th. Okay, so last. So, it's a matter of value. Let's see, as a matter of fact, if we go back, and you'll see how easy Black Magic makes it to go back and to look at races and see what happens. Let's go back to June 5th and see if I've got that race. Yeah, I see it right there. We're looking, and that's downloading all the races. And see, here's the great thing. On that day, there were 205 races that I could bet out here in Las Vegas. And what I've asked it to do by putting it on heavy pressure is just show me those races where there might be heavy pressure. It just so happens that in the Belmont 9th race, Champagne Doro came right up on top.
Black magic that you weave so well.
Those icy fingers up and down my spine.
The same old witchcraft when your eyes meet mine.
Same old tingle that I feel inside.
And then that